and I'll never back down. In the middle of the ring is where I lay the smack down. Against all odds, I will always prevail. So when you step to me, it's like hell in a cell.
Greetings and salutations, this is Christopher Daniels. I'm talking to my main man Delzinski right now. Any video game show, any video game channel, any YouTube channel called Vintage Shizzle is indeed hashtag Daniels approved.
Yo, alright guys, Delzinski here. Welcome to another We Talk, hashtag We Talk Weekend. And wow, guess who's back? He's made his way out of Mike Tenay's dungeon and he's crawled his way here. It is the Professor, that is Weeds. Welcome back.
You wouldn't believe what it was like to try and escape that place, man. No, I've had flu as well, you know, Delzinski, and yes, I'm more or less back to full health, but I had proper, not just the man flu stuff, I had the proper flu stuff. Can't move, sweats, everything. Yeah, but of course I've come back for We Talk and our Fastlane review.
Yeah, the proper Mike Tenay package is what you had, isn't it?
Proper, yeah, Lemsip and everything.
Ah, so yeah, welcome back, Weeds. And obviously last week, Smack Talks, Paul kindly stepped in to fill your boots.
Great job he did.
Yeah, and we talked about Fastlane, and we're going to do the review of it this week. In addition to that, we're going to be talking about all the news that's going on, because we kind of got a bit of a news segment going on in We Talk at the start of the show, and there's quite a fair bit to talk about today. So first of all, this is probably the biggest news, but it kind of slipped under the radar because WWE kind of moved Rey Mysterio out of their active roster this week because it's official, he's gone. Free Rey is complete.
He's got his Alberto Del Rio release, hasn't he? I can't remember the last time I saw Ray on WWE. I know he's had quite a lot of injuries, knees and everything. So it kind of seemed logical sense. It sounds like they've let his contract expire rather than releasing him, as I think he was trying to get his release for months and months and months. So I'm kind of expecting him to pop up in Lucha Underground with Conan. Yeah,
he's been kind of begging for that release for some time, and to actually move on and go back to his Mexican ways. But the interesting thing about it is, I don't know if it was the exact last time, but the one that I remember was him coming back for the Royal Rumble and being booed. So it's not exactly the nicest way to go out.
Yeah, I was going to say that Royal Rumble had quite a lot of booing, didn't it? But yeah, I mean, he was great for the WWE, not the prototypical guy they like to have, is he? Considering I think he's only about 5'7", 5'8". He might even be smaller than that. So the fact that he did as much as he did, not just in WCW originally and then WWE later, I mean, it just kind of underlines how good he actually was. I suppose winding down his career somewhat now, probably nursing injuries from the amount of crazy stuff he used to do. But it will be good to see him back in some capacity and being used properly, I suppose, more than anything else.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame, though, the way he's gone out, because he was a huge part of the WWE for many years, and now they've obviously let him go. And it wasn't really done that greatly. It wasn't, they haven't really put a huge amount about him saying, he had a great career, blah, blah, blah. It's all been a bit, brushed under the carpet, almost like, well, you've sat behind the scenes, you haven't been happy, and now we've let you go.
And that's exactly it. I mean, this guy absolutely broke down barriers in terms of, world heavyweight champions and things like that. His exit should have been the Hall of Fame. It shouldn't be, out the back door quietly while no one is noticing, basically. For me, he should have been a Hall of Fame guy.
Yeah.
If the bloody Bushwhackers are going...
Yeah, but aren't you going to be excited when they come out doing that whatever it is?
I saw this stat that popped up on Twitter this week. I don't know if you saw it. It was someone said that the first complete Survivor Series team to go in is Rowdy's Roddies.
Well, really?
Or Roddy's Rowdies. Rowdy's Roddies. I'm even confused. So that would be Piper, Snooker, and the Bushwhackers.
Well, oh yeah, do you know what I mean? You know, it's kind of funny though. The Bushwhackers are still more over than Roman Reigns at the moment. So, there you go. Yeah, I know it's a bit of a weird one, a bit of an odd one. And again, it kind of. I was talking about this with my brother the other day, and we're not going full into the Hall of Fame talk right now, but kind of begs the question again of the guys that really need to go in there always seem to be put by the wayside and only get put in when it's too late. Macho Man, a Warrior, very kind of lucky to get him in there before obviously his passing. It always feels a bit like that possibly the reason why they put them in at those points is sometimes because it's, merchandise, adds extra selling value, which isn't really, I think, the way that many fans want the Hall of Fame to go. They'd rather see it go where, there's more relevancy to the superstars. So like with Rey Mysterio, would have been nice that he probably goes in sooner rather than later, as opposed to him being put into Lucha Underground, then WWE not exactly wanting to put him in for many years because of, him being associated with another company, and we know they don't like to put over other companies. So, yeah.
No, I'll take your point entirely, because you've only got to look at the amount of Warrior DVDs. I think he's got his second one coming out. Macho Man's got his second DVD coming out. I think it might even be his third one. So no, they really once they've passed away, they do seem to milk the merchandise as it were. But no, I mean, just going back to Rey Mysterio, yeah, I mean, that's where this guy should have finished for me. It's going to be great to see that he's actively involved. I think, what is he now? He must be early mid-40s.
I'd expect so, yeah.
So I mean, he's still got stuff to offer, and hopefully one day we will get this all fixed, and he will work his way into the Hall of Fame. I don't know if it's completely. I'm not pointing fingers at WWE or anything like that. It just sounds like they've just probably reached kind of a mutual parting, but in terms of it, the mutuality of it probably doesn't sound like it worked out in the way Ray wanted it to.
Yeah, I think probably for Ray, it's probably the same old as some of the old school guys, just not really understanding the direction of the company. So,
if the fans don't, I don't think they should necessarily.
I would say to anybody who's listening today, if you do get a chance, because we did say Macho Man's name, go check out on YouTube some interviews with Lanny Poffo, who was AKA The Genius, and obviously the brother of the Macho Man. You should go check him out. He's very controversial, some of the things that he says, but also gives you another outlook of the whole WWE Hall of Fame Macho Man and Hulk Hogan induction kind of shizzle.
I'm sure we've got a whole Hall of Fame plan talk, haven't we, at some point?
We should. As long as Mr. T don't rock up, it'd be absolutely fine.
And his mum.
And his mum. And his mother. Okay, so that kind of wraps up talking about Ray. Let's move on. I mean, it's kind of departure week because the Beast, Brock Lesnar, also walked out. He hasn't completely gone, but this is the rumour that's going on. We don't know, the reasons why. There was loads of rumours about Roman Reigns failing the wellness policy, whether that's true or not. But Brock walked out of Raw. He was there, and then he left. So where do we go with this story?
Well, by all accounts, that's what happened anyway. I'd be very surprised if they didn't use him if he was there, because what was it, 2 weeks ago he turned up with Heyman. I think they cut a promo on the news anchor that had done the Iraq story over there. So if you're not going to use him when he's actually needed, which would have been this Monday, it kind of says something went wrong, doesn't it? For me, it sounds like if you go by wrestling websites, there's something to do with UFC. Again, going back into the Ultimate Fighting world. If I'm Lesnar and the toll that takes on your body, I would be looking to do something solely along the WWE lines. But you know me, I'm like the sick note at the moment.
Yeah, you're not exactly of Brock Lesnar's beast stature. Let's put it that way.
No, I'm not. Let's just leave it there.
Weeds is a prime example of the name, yeah?
Thank you very much.
Oh, dear.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of the walkout, by all accounts, it sounded like it was a disagreement with Vince. I'm sure more will come to light in the next couple of weeks, because they're going to need him in the build up to WrestleMania. Because at the moment, I mean, Reigns did a good job with Heyman on Monday, but even Heyman it kind of felt a little bit like they threw it all together last minute.
God, could you imagine if Brock decides to walk out before WrestleMania?
Well, this was the worry, isn't it? With potentially his contract running out at the night after WrestleMania, because he's actually booked on apparently on that Raw the night after, where he's either going to endorse Reigns or still have the title, and we go into a bit longer of Lesnar's reign. But quite a lot to iron out, shall we say, before 31 days now before Mania.
I've heard rumours about that. It's to do with Lesnar wanting to do a bit of both. So he wants to do UFC and a bit of WWE. I can't see Vince McMahon and Dana White coming together to negotiate that deal.
Come on, Lesnar's good, but he's no Bobby Lashley.
Ooh, that's a fantasy match on WWE 2K15 if ever I've heard one.
But I would be amazed. There is no way Vince is going to let him do both, as far as I can see it. He's already not acknowledging the UFC, so that means he obviously thinks they're a rival, and to let them do the co-brand, there's no way they're going to let him go over on both.
Do you know what my scenario is? I was thinking about this the other day. Now, put this one together, and We Talk audience I've got a new name for the We Talk audience. We Talkers.
We Talkers.
Put this one together. So Brock leaves, walks out, goes to UFC, with the title, defends the title against CM Punk in the Octagon in UFC, CM Punk wins the belt back, then comes back to the WWE as WWE champion.
What have you been drinking?
It could happen.
It could happen. If we're working on multiple parallel universes, it could happen in any one of them. In others, there are pigs flying and sheep mowing lawns, I'm sure.
Well, if it happens, you will be made to eat those words.
I was going to say, you heard it here first.
Yes, We Talk exclusive. So, Brock's walked out. I'm sure he'll be back. I don't think it's over just yet. And then, speaking of quitters, I mean, we're not talking about the quitter himself. CM Punk, so, whenever there's controversy, he's always got to be involved there. But AJ Lee decided to sort of shoot her mouth off a little bit at Stephanie McMahon via social media. Why these things can't be done behind closed doors, I will never ever know. But she did. She decided to raise some issues about the pay of the WWE divas, and all to do with equal pay and equal rights. Do you agree, number one? And did it surprise you that it was her that chose to speak out? And last but not least, Weeds, because I'm going to fire 3 questions at you at once. Why does it always have to be her or that sort of controversial person? No one else seems to want to raise these issues, no?
Because she is the voice of the voice of the voiceless.
Oh, she's the voice of 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 the voiceless.
Yes, if you catch my drift. Obviously, she's still employed by WWE. Time off, I think, was it a neck injury she's currently got? So she's been off with time for that. Not going to sit here and say she's the greatest wrestler in the world. Equally, I'm not going to say
she's not the best in the world.
She's not, but she's not the worst diva either. See
what? We had
dropping some rhymes.
We had this last week. She's not. Are you trying to take a swipe at Eva Marie there? Don't do that. Don't go there.
I've mentioned the word wrestler and diva.
Eva.
Sentences.
No, you had Eva in there.
Eva.
See.
I should have more time off. Like you say, I don't know why it had to be. It felt like it was a bit of bandwagon jumping, in that there was obviously the hashtag. What was it? Give Divas a chance. Going round on Monday Night Raw after, I think it was a year to the day that it had been Paige versus Emma on NXT. I think one of the pay-per-views they did, and then obviously Paige and Emma in a tag team match against the Bellas, which I think lasted, what was it, about 3 minutes, something around that, and it just showed the differences, the glaring differences. And I mean, I'm sure I know you and Smack Talks went into it. We've been into it before. What they want from the women's wrestling division is entirely different from what they want on the actual Raw program, and it's all about total divas, and it's never going to change. If you want wrestling, you go for NXT. If you actually care what Natty and Tyson Kidd, and if they're actually happy together this week, well, then you tune into Raw, because it's just going to be an extension of Total Divas. So it felt like, yes, it was a very obvious point for AJ to make. Like you say, if she actually, really wanted to make a difference, you'd say these things behind closed doors. As anyone's boss is not going to respond well to being called out in public, are they?
No, exactly, and that's the bit I always get the hump about when it comes to her and Punk. I'm not a Punk hater, but I just don't always agree with the way they choose to address it. I had a few conversations with people on Twitter about this as well. Some saying, "Well, the WWE don't listen," but do you really honestly think that speaking out about it on Twitter is going to make Stephanie or Triple H listen anymore? No, it's just going to drive a wedge even more in that relationship. So, we saw Vince tweet out as well that he is listening, so that hashtag give Divas a chance hasn't gone under the radar. Vince has seen it, and I guess only time will tell now in how we get on. I still honestly believe, and I said this last week with Smack Talks, until you drop the name Divas, nothing will change. Because it's all a completely wrong mindset for women's wrestling, and they're never going to drop that. And they're always going to keep this split and divide. And to be honest, I can see it go more diva-ish as we move forward, as opposed to more pro wrestling. So
the way you have to look at it is Total Divas, whether you like it or not, or whether we like it, because I'm not a fan. It's a success, so it's not going away anytime soon. They've got quite a good formula going on. I think it's the E Network, and it's what they've chosen to do. Have this reality kind of take on women's or the divas, because as I said, if you want wrestling, and we like the wrestling aspect, you might as well watch NXT. So it's there if you want it. I can't see it changing anytime soon on the main brand.
Agreed.
What a downer.
Okay, so let's move on to something that's maybe a bit better, although we didn't get it this for a year. But never mind that. Don't worry about it.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, WWE Network, because you are 1 year old, brother. So yeah,
it's come around quick, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's come around quick because we ain't had it for that long. So
no, I can't even remember when we got it. What, January now? The end of Jan. Just before the Rumble, wasn't it?
It's a whole year, that, isn't it?
It's a whole month.
So it's 1 year old. I thought we'd just mention this. And just
as a quick point, I like the network. It did take a while to get it over here, but the amount of content they've got on it is amazing. Mm-hmm. So no, I'm hoping it does stay around, because there's still a lot of whispers going around that it's not making, even with the quotation marks, 1 million subs that they've got, it's not near where they want it to be, which is about 1.5 million to really make some serious money.
To be honest, I think the way that it will is if they, and they're not going to, but they need to move Raw and SmackDown onto it to make it a proper network, and then you'll just see everybody flood to it, because that's the problem. People aren't going to go flood to it whilst it's being shown on TV still. So
I think whatever they're getting paid by the USA Network, and I don't know the provider who covers SmackDown, but that advertising, that's why it's 3 hours. When Triple H has quite openly said he'd rather it's 2, they must get quite a significant amount of money in terms of sponsorship and advertising. Because at the moment, like you say, if you wanted to really believe in the network, you'd have everything under one roof. You could look at different kind of boundaries. You wouldn't have to worry about pissing off the network and things like that, and it probably would be a lot more wrestling orientated than trying to branch over all these different facets that they try to week on, week out.
That aside, I don't really understand why the WWE Network isn't doing that well. It is really good. It's a good product. It's cheap. Don't complain about the price, because the price is fine for the back catalogue that you get. It's awesome, and I thoroughly like it. I love watching the pay-per-views on it. None of that pre-ordering. For us over here, it would have been Sky. I'm sure with you guys over there, it's more, I think, as well. So, it's ideal. It's perfect, and just like I say, I think they've got to take some sort of hit to progress if they want it to become an official network and put all their products on it. But I like you said, money talks, and it always seems to overpower the long-term projects of things. So,
would you say it's a good start though? The year they've had,
in terms of story building.
No, I just mean in terms of the network and you know, for every success that it's been, and you know, you can get pay-per-views cheaper. You've had the delays of launching it worldwide. The service is actually quite good now that you get through it. It was awful at the beginning, which you'd expect. I mean, where do you see this in a couple of years? Do you see that making big changes to how we watch wrestling?
I think it's all going to run through the network. I think that's got to, if it's not their overall target to have it all running through the network, then I don't really understand what the path is. It's
the point of going on it in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, surely that's Vince's vision, is that he has this network and he has all his audience tuned in there, and it's like competitive with the major networks. I'm sure that's what he wants to do, but you know, these things take time. I'm not going to say. I definitely don't think it's a failure. Let's put it that way. And as a fan, I'm so glad that they released it.
I kind of, the way I look at it is I think in where they've had failures like the XFL and other sort of things in the past, I think they're actually ahead of the curve on this one. In terms, I personally think this is how you're going to get a lot of your TV in the next 10 to 15 years. So I think they're ahead of the curve. They don't quite know what they've got yet, and I think there's just so much potential of stuff they can do with this network. I would personally like to see a bit more original programming on it. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, like you say, the catalogue that they've got, the back catalogue alone is worth the price each month. Throw in NXT and then the pay-per-views, and it's kind of a no-brainer, really, isn't it?
Yeah, let's just look at it that way. That I don't know if you agree, Weeds, but 90% of people these days anyway head on YouTube, watch YouTube videos. You've got your Netflix, your subscriptions. You know, people are going to these sort of devices now all the time, and they're looking at these things. So you know, the TV networks, I don't think they are the thing of the future. I think that these sort of web subscriptions are the way to go. And when you've got the access through the PlayStation, the Xbox, yada, 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 you know, they're the places to go. The thing I would say, and I don't know if any of the Wii talkers know much about this, but the PlayStation 4 version of the WWE Network isn't as good as the Xbox One.
I think they need to have a serious look at the search engine, don't they?
Yeah, it's hard to find things on the PS4 version compared to the Xbox. The Xbox got a thing listed by years. It's so much more convenient.
But it's also when you type in, like, say you're trying to find like Hell in a Cell or something, you can type in, you know, you want to find the Mankind match or something like that. You can type in Mankind, it just brings up a whole list. You can't then sub-search like Mankind and the Undertaker, as far as I can make it. I don't know if you can do that on laptop, but you can't do it on the streaming devices like the PlayStations and stuff.
Yeah, really annoying. The other day I was trying to look for beaver cleavage and I could not find it anywhere. Just, I mean, come on.
Yeah, well, you probably weren't looking in the right place, mate. Today.
Oh, has he got beaver cleavage, has he?
I'm sure he has.
He's probably locked up in his dungeon. Right, okay, so that kind of brings us to the end of the news. Bum, bum, bum. Should get one of those things that Jericho's got, one of those bells, though. Ding, 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 ding. But anyway, that sounded like the start of Dusty Rhodes' theme music.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Okay, so
I've got pictures of Sapphire in my head, so let's move on.
That's not a bad thing, you know.
Do you remember Sapphire?
I do remember Sapphire.
Do you remember when the $1 Million Man bought her?
I'm not sure why he wanted to buy her.
There's a nod to slavery if you ever saw one, isn't there?
Oh dear.
There we go.
So
good old Vince.
Good old Vince, yeah, the Mr. Always Correct Vince McMahon. I mean, I've been watching some stuff the last few weeks, and I just can't believe the way the product's changed. I mean, I was watching the other day DX, where Vince loves cock. That was hilarious.
That was only like 5-6 years ago, wasn't it?
I know. Vince loved the cock. What else did he love? Oh, he loves dicks as well. He loves dicks. Oh, Vince. Yes.
So Fastlane.
Stand back.
No, don't. No.
Oh, right.
Oh, you're putting images in my head today, man.
It's one of the best songs ever. I'm going to put it in the link in the description box below. If you just want to cheer yourself up on a Saturday morning, obviously you've got We Talk, but in addition to that, you've got Stand Back. That's the fact. Right.
And if you have no idea what we are talking about, just check out the description. You are in for a treat.
If you don't check it out, I promise you will lose. Yeah, check out the link in the description. I'll make sure it's right at the top so you guys can go check that out. Vince McMahon, Stand Back. Oh dear. Right, anyway, let's talk about it. WWE Fastlane. The first time Fastlane came around, the quick question first is, was it better than an Elimination Chamber?
It was different.
It was different.
I don't know if the crowd exactly were into it.
Well,
they seemed quite quiet at times.
Yeah, they really were a bad crowd. I mean, not being funny to Memphis. I mean, Memphis is supposed to be, quite an in crowd with the wrestling audience, and yet it wasn't there, was it?
I mean, they
didn't
tried to spin it towards they didn't put the microphones and things pointing in the right direction. That seems like bullshit to me.
I heard this. Yes, I heard this on Austin's podcast.
Yeah, that seemed like bullshit to me. They weren't into certain aspects of this.
But to be honest, I'll be brutally honest with you. From the beginning, I thought it was really good. I kind of enjoyed the whole thing. I know it started off a bit flat, but I could not see the reason why this crowd did not get up for this. I mean, they had a lot of things in here that, from my point of view, they were quite lucky to get. You got to see Sting. You got a wicked angle with Triple H, which we'll talk about. You got teased that The Undertaker was returning. A whole lot of things, really, that were exciting.
There was quite a lot of good things about it, and there were two really, really good matches for me. Actually, there was potentially going to be three until somewhat of a questionable ending. But did you, with the bits where they've had Sting and they had the Undertaker / Rey Wyatt promo? Is this a Raw concept now coming onto pay-per-view? Are these promos? Because that's all it appears to be, and I think you could have better served this on Raw maybe, when you haven't got something to do in your third hour.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a new thing from the WWE, because if you can remember, we have had the Authority come out and start off things like, I think it was a Survivor Series.
Yeah.
And we've had in the past as well, Vince McMahon come out at, like, I think when Vengeance, when Jericho was crowned the Undisputed Champion, Vince came out and cut a strong promo right at the beginning of the event. So it's not new for the WWE to do this.
I mean, is that kind of, they haven't done their job in building it up properly then?
Possibly. Could also be just to refresh people, to remind them of the power of the storylines.
But I get it, like liven up a crowd. And if ever you needed to open up with a promo, it was probably this one.
Well, yeah, it was just flat from the offset. I can't understand why a crowd is that flat, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I'm surprised Vince didn't come out and start doing his Ebola promos like he did here in Liverpool. But there you go. So let's talk about the first match. It was
six-man tag.
The six-man tag. Yeah.
Why did Dolph lose?
Because he's the whooping boy of the WWE, not by choice from the fans. Let's put it that way. Austin said this on his podcast, and I think Jericho's also kind of hinted at this. I think everybody's hinted at this. That, let's be honest, when you're coming out to have a match to start the evening, you want it to be fast-paced and quick. And when you've got guys like the Big Show Baby, and you've got, Corporate Kane, Demon Kane, whatever he's playing himself to be at the moment, you're not going to get that fast pace. I would have kind of switched the booking, and I would have booked Cesaro Kid Usos as the first match of the evening.
Yeah, well, that match was brilliant. So yeah, I didn't get this. Again, all of them seemed to work really hard during the match, but why? I mean, Ziggler was the guy that finished Survivor Series. What? 4 pay-per-views ago. He's now the guy to lose on the opening match at Fastlane. And I think this just underlines every worry we had about Ziggler. And I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say Ziggler's perfect in what he does. He's not. For me, he oversells far too much and all that kind of stuff. But if you actually want to do something and make him credible, you can't have him losing in the opening match of this, and when you got the other guys in there, and ultimately all you're trying to do is bring Randy Orton back in. It didn't need a finish.
I was kind of watching and also playing WWE 13 the other day, and that was when Ziggler was almost like had a really good gimmick. Like I think it was a time when he was hanging around with AJ Lee, and he had his little faction going on. He was a heel, and that was really good back then. And
how good was it
so
the
wrong.
night? How good was it the night he came out? I think it was either the night after WrestleMania, and took the belt off Del Rio when he actually cashed in.
Yes.
Do you still remember how loud that crowd was when he did that? And we're reduced to this. So if you don't know what to do, at least turn him heel or something again. You know, it doesn't make sense. And you know, for me, we got Ziggler, who's really up and coming and should be doing something at Mania. I assume he's going to be involved in this ladder match. And then you got Bryan, and these are probably your two of your most complete kind of wrestlers. And you're going into Mania, you don't really know what they're going to do. And as we said about Ziggler, it's like he took these massive steps forwards again, and then he's been reined straight back in again. It just doesn't, I don't get it.
Well, he's kind of got Cesaro syndrome, hasn't he?
Well, so what? Give him a year and he'll be tag team champion then?
Possibly. Yeah, I don't really understand it. I didn't really understand the match. It was almost a filler. It was to try and get some guys on the card. It was also to integrate the Orton return, which I liked the Orton return, but it felt way too like you say about Ziggler taking the loss. Did it have to have a finish? Couldn't it have just had Orton come out and hit some RKOs, come out through the crowd possibly?
It just needed them to kind of
attire.
Injure Ryback or something, and Eric Rowan either knock them out. They could have even done it with the stairs again, and then just have Ziggler, you know, really going 3-on-1 and holding his own and looking like he's going to get beat. And then Orton's music hits, and he comes out not in wrestling attire, and clears out. Because I mean, the other thing that seems to have lost momentum is since Orton's back, why they've suddenly gone back into the angle they were before. The angle finished with him having his head stomped twice, being cut open, and now he's kind of playing the clever game. That seems to be where they've gone. But there should be no coming back from this, and it kind of thinks like they've gone, do you know what, before we did take him out with Rollins, let's take him back and we'll go back to the Raw 2 weeks before that happened, and then we'll do that angle again. And they did leave it too long for me. 4 months is too long, and it's good that Orton's had the rest and the time off and all that stuff, but it doesn't make sense. I mean, if as someone even pointed out on Raw, how does he forgive this? I think it was Rollins, wasn't it? He goes, how does he forgive this? Because it makes no bloody sense that he has, even if he's playing a game, they're going to know he's playing a game.
Well, I could think it kind of showed that he's playing a game. You know, when he on Raw, when he shook the hand of Seth Rollins, he was just sort of smiling at him as if to say, you know, I've got your cards marked. But I mean,
the only reason I can see this happening is because they know they've got the Jon Stewart thing coming up, and the Orton turn, as it were, on Rollins will happen this Monday.
Yeah, but I mean, like you say, I kind of don't think that's actually necessary. That wasn't needed. They should have
done. It
should have been when he came back. That's when it should have happened.
Yeah, I mean, what Rollins did with the running off and heading for his car, that was perfect. I like that. But then suddenly they're all pally and they're shaking hands, and you know he's slapping him on the arm the next night on Raw, and I get that if you haven't had the head stomp already on the stairs, but that's the time's gone.
It should have really been the Viper sort of stalking Rollins over the next few weeks in the build up to WrestleMania. That's what it should have been.
I mean, that's the way I looked at it. Is that you've got this great opportunity with Jon Stewart at the moment where you can have him and you could have teased it, and then if you could have even brought him back on a Raw that Rollins ends up chasing Jon Stewart up the ramp or something, and out comes Orton then, and then he can run him off, and that you know all these weird things could have been happening to him throughout this time, and you weren't quite sure if it was just Jon Stewart playing with his mind and you know these kind of things, and it was really Orton all along. There's just so much more better things they could have done than what they're doing.
Yeah, well, that's the trouble, isn't it? They've sort of gone back to involving him back in the Authority storyline. Is it because the Authority...
For 1 week. It will be for 1 week. That is my guess.
Is it because the Authority's losing its relevancy at the moment?
Well, it doesn't really... It's kind of it's there, and I think it was the Hurricane on was it JR's podcast that pointed out that you've even got, like, with Triple H, the many personas of Triple H, and it's kind of, would you say it's losing its pace somewhat? And I think does it go back to Big Show and Kane in there? Is that there's not an awful lot outside of Stephanie and Triple H you can take seriously, is there?
Yeah, I don't think anybody cares for Big Show or Kane anymore, to be honest.
Yeah,
So,
and it kind of, again, would you say at the end of Survivor Series that the storyline had reached its natural conclusion? We didn't need the Authority back in January.
No, because I do quite like the Sting Triple H storyline that's going on at the moment. So I don't mind that.
Of course, I've got problems with that as well.
Obviously, but I don't mind it. I just sort of think that, like you said, that they kind of have missed a trick when it comes to Orton, because Orton's a big deal. The RKO is still a massive deal in social media terms. He was RKOing Madonna the other day. So, she was
RKOing herself.
So, it's still there, and they just need to think about this before they ruin it going into WrestleMania, because Seth Rollins, Randy Orton should be a really good match.
Yeah, it should be. And again, I think we've said before is that I wouldn't turn Orton face. I know they do like to have their heels and faces at the moment, but I would have him as an in-between. You never quite know, and that's where you've kind of borrowing on Dean Ambrose's kind of lunatic fringe gimmick, is that's what I would have done with Orton, is that you never quite know what he's going to do. A bit like Austin back in the day where it was DTA. You literally can't trust Orton because you don't know what he's going to do.
Yeah, Orton's always been like that, though, hasn't he? He's always been one that you couldn't trust. And I think with that whole promo on Raw, the final outcome with Triple H is Triple H doesn't trust him because he's looking at him, didn't say a word. That was good. I like that. So, yeah. Oh, wow. You liked something.
I like that.
Amazing. So that was the first match. It was kind of a slow start, and obviously questionable with Ziggler being pinned. But then we moved on to the tag team match, and about time is all I can say, is that Cesaro getting some props. Actually, the chemistry between Cesaro and Kid is really good. I really like it. And the Usos dropping the belts. We have new WWE Tag Team Champions, and it is indeed Cesaro and Kid. And I think it's a good thing for the tag team division, and I'm really wondering if we're going to get soon. I actually, to be honest, I'm wondering if that's actually going to work, if the Ascension are ever going to cross paths with Cesaro and Kid. I don't think that will work too well, but that's a talk for another time. So what did you think about the match, first of all?
Well, it was great. Loads of high spots. Tyson Kidd came out a bit great again. The Usos, I think, like you and Smack Talk said, and we've said previously, they're getting a bit flat. I don't think necessarily adding Cameron to them has helped them in any way. For me, though, it's great to see a guy like Tyson Kidd actually doing the stuff that he does week in, week out, and getting some recognition finally. I don't know what you thought, though, about the commentary team. They seem to put them over really, really strong in this, and said, this is, quite a cohesive team, and we haven't seen a team like this come along in quite a long time. So they put quite a lot of effort into making Tyson Kidd and Cesaro as a legitimate tag team, which they've obviously been building up towards, but they put a lot of effort into making that happen, I thought, during the commentary.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't always listen to an awful lot that JBL, Michael Cole, and Jerry Lawler say, to be honest, anymore.
Well, I was going to say devil's advocate, as they're saying, this is probably one of the most relevant teams for quite a while. And I don't know if that kind of have they finally, has the ball finally dropped, as it were, that they've kind of worked out that there is no tag team division, and if you're throwing together Cesaro and Kid and they're now your champions, the fact that you're telling us that they're relevant is that you're also kind of acknowledging that you haven't really done anything with the tag team division for quite a while. If that's the best team that was literally thrown together that has become quite a dominant team, it will be interesting to see where the tag team titles, if they do feature on Mania, because I think they need to. I think all the titles need to feature on Mania, personally, but it'll be interesting to see where it fits in with the Usos, with the Ascension, and I suppose the primetime players at the moment as well. Come out of nowhere.
It definitely needs to be featured on the WrestleMania card, the tag
and
team
not
belts.
a 5-minute blow off. It needs to,
Yeah, it definitely they definitely need to involve them in the belts need to be on the line. But I think as well, like you were saying about the whole relevancy. Cesaro and Kid are sort of like the tag team of the people. This has all just been from a push from the WWE fans who have been wanting Cesaro to obviously get over for quite some time. Tyson Kidd, everyone acknowledges the ability that he's got. So, yeah, this is something that's been a long time overdue. I'd like to see a little bit more, as obviously they've got good chemistry in the ring, the whole powerhouse and the high flyer, which is really nice. But what I'd like to see as well is maybe them kind of come together a bit more. They've got those T-shirts that they keep coming out with. You've got Too Swiss and you've got Fact and things like that. So, trying to play off those social media sort of wordings as well, getting that out on Twitter. But what I'd like to see more as well is a bit of, between the two, a bit more of a match in terms of look, a little bit like, so they have got a bit more of a tag team attire, because I feel like there's almost a massive gap here. You've still got, the Swiss Superman, which is Cesaro, and then you've got Kid with his sort of, I'm not really sure what you want to call his look, to be honest. He's got cats on his knees and stuff, and, I kind of would like to see them be more coherency between the look, and then with Natalia, it works really well.
No, I mean, this is where I'm actually going to give Total Divas something that I do like, that they have built this in to that show, that, the issues between her and Tyson, and it's still coming through. And this is where they're absolutely going by their characters, because even at the end of that match when they won, you had Cesaro trying to take Tyson away from her, which I really liked. He's like, no, you come and celebrate with me. And she gave him another kiss, then he pulled him back. So I like that. That was good. And when they've actually got that commitment and they follow it up properly, it works.
Yeah, Cesaro's face was the right treat when she was trying to give him a kiss, and he was just like, come on, man. Come party with the boys,
Exactly. It was funny. And again, I really, the fact that they were thrown together, and do you get the sense that they are left to their own devices when it comes to like coming up with their own T-shirts, to what they're going to have on them, how they're actually bringing it all together? It feels like it's very much them doing it rather than them being told what to do.
Yeah, because they had that Brass Ring Club T-shirt, and I don't think that was something that was really WWE approved. It's not a T-shirt they've released.
They're like, sneak it through.
So yeah, they they're kind of they're grabbing the brass ring. They're taking the opportunity and seizing it. So that's good, and I'm glad, because I'm a massive supporter of Cesaro. I've been banging this drum for such a long time, and finally, I still think there's bigger things for Cesaro, but this is a great platform to get him over at last. Well, he's always been over, but he's not been over inside the WWE universe. So I'm glad, and I think it's good for the tag team division. And like I say, if they can get that little bit more coherency between each other in terms of look and style, it's going to be good when they start going up against your... I still wonder if that'll ever happen, Ascension versus them, because both heels, but the tag team division is better for it. And I actually think we'll probably have another one of those sort of fatal four-way tag team matches at WrestleMania.
Yeah, but they were... I can't remember the last pay-per-view it was on. Was it the Survivor Series? Yeah, it
they
worked.
bring the house down. They're good.
It worked well, and that is like you say, that is what they should have opened with for me.
Yeah, it was very good, and I'm glad we got new tag team champions. So yeah, Cesaro and Kid going from strength to strength. Where the Usos go, they don't need the belts to be where they are. They're just there. They're just a tag team, and they're there. There's no other tag teams around really. Have they feuded with the Ascension yet?
Not yet.
Probably expect that to happen very soon. So, yeah, let's move on. Let's move on to a controversial finish. I've got quite a good view on this one. Goldust versus Stardust, which kind of ended bizarrely, which kind of ties in very well with the two, because they are both absolutely bizarre.
What are they?
I wasn't too keen on... People were praising it, but I wasn't too keen on the old Dusty Rhodes family segment at the beginning. I like the one after... But I wasn't really that keen on it. It felt like Dusty Rhodes wasn't really into it. just didn't feel right. I mean, the whole thing, don't hurt him. You're having a match with him.
It feels a little bit too early in the angle in terms of them splitting up to get Dusty involved. It doesn't need him. Again, a great point that was made with Goldust is, were we just essentially seeing Dustin Rhodes here? Because I remember Goldust from when he first came on in '96. He was not like this. He was weird, very, 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 very weird, and that's what got him over. This was just Dustin Rhodes against Cody, who I still maintain that Cody's going to say, I've done this Stardust thing just to get like you to even notice me, and I'm actually Cody Rhodes, and this will be the ultimate. He'll just go back to being Cody.
Yeah, but I actually think, like Smack Talk said the other week, that Cody Rhodes isn't really. He's kind of boring, and he'll get lost in the mix if he does that. I think having that Stardust gimmick gives him that opportunity to be relevant.
Yeah, I mean, when he's doing it, he does it really well. But again, if he can say, I've pulled the wool over everyone's eyes, and you really bought into me behaving like this, and he can use that in his own way as well, and say, well, basically, I can make you feel however I want you to feel, and then he wouldn't necessarily get lost in that mix again.
Yeah, no, fair point. What did you think of the finish? Now, this is the bit that I really, I don't really get it. First of all, I don't get why the commentary team complains so badly when they know the rules. The rule is that if somebody doesn't get their shoulder up, the referee counts it. So when the commentary team decide to pull people up on things like this, really hacks me off, because they pretty much hammered the referee for botching the count. Yes, he can hit the mat harder. Yeah, don't get it wrong.
It wasn't the only bollocking they got that night, in my opinion.
But the fact of the matter is that that's what the referee's there to do. If the superstar's not looking to get their shoulder up, he's got to count it down. That's what they're told to do, and the commentary team know this. So why do they feel the need to then complain and constantly, hammer somebody for that, which is not technically a mistake? And I said this on Twitter the other day. If you want me to go and correct every mistake that these three guys are making on a weekly basis, I can do it. But it's very frustrating that the commentary team, again, failure in terms of putting over storylines, and also then picking up on things that are completely and utterly unnecessary to do. They could have just brushed over that fact that count went, and they could have said it took him by surprise, it was a shock victory, yada yada yada, but they don't do it.
I'm still not sure if it was a botched finish. I'm pretty sure that it was, but I mean, these guys have been going for nearly 10 minutes at that point, so you'd naturally think that they were coming to an end in that match, and Stardust had been on top of it an awful lot of the time, hadn't he?
But it doesn't do, it was, but it doesn't do any damage to either person, that result, because it was kind of like, you could say it was a bit of a fluke. So,
and that's what they built on straight away, and then you obviously had Stardust going nuts in the back, and he and that's where I thought you saw a bit of Cody. And then he went back to Stardust with Dusty, and that I kind of liked, because I thought he seemed to be playing up to it. He's like, you want me to be this, so this is what I'm going to be. So I quite like that. But yeah, I get what you say with the commentary team, is that like you say, they know the rules. If you get counted out, you get counted out. If you do something, you don't break 5, they are going to disqualify you. They have to treat it, give it some realism. Otherwise, if you've got the ref anticipating things, you've seen when you get the refs looking over for someone to run in, it just looks shit, doesn't it?
Yeah, Taz said it on his podcast. He said, there was a stage of his career where he was being on the outside during a match, and the referee was saying, I'm going to count you out. You got to get in. I'll keep counting. I'm going to keep counting. Just because you're choosing not to come in, I don't stop my count. So, that's what they're told to do, and they know this.
And I hate it when you do get referees where they keep glancing to the left or something when the action's to the right, because they're waiting for something to come in from the outside. So I prefer it when they don't and they have to react. I think it gives it a lot better kind of more realistic feel, because it doesn't feel as scripted. And I don't want to see a referee checking over his shoulder every 2 minutes just to check that someone's done. Like you say, if they screw up, or it seemed to be an accident, if it was a botched pin, so be it. They fixed it more or less straight away, didn't they, with the promo at the end?
Yeah, the promo was really good. It kind of moved it on again. I still think this storyline's completely and utterly rushed. I don't really see the point of having the match at Fastlane. I think it should have been something for WrestleMania. But either way, it kind of came good with that backstage segment. So I kind of like that quite a bit. I like the aggression from Cody Rhodes or Stardust. I like that a lot, and it was almost him trying to come out the shadows from his family. So yeah, they did a good job. It was a quite a good match. Crowd hacked me off during this match. I'm not going to lie. I heard chants are boring. Well, maybe if you were into it a bit more, it wouldn't have been so boring. So try a bit harder, Memphis, to get up for it.
There was one annoying guy throughout the whole of that pay-per-view chanting everything, and you just wanted someone to turn around to him and just say, "Shut up."
Should have been RKO'd.
But what did you think about the change of look from Cody? Obviously.
I don't know. I don't know about this look at all. I don't like the face paint.
This is why I'm starting to call him Cody again, because obviously he didn't wear the top half of the costume that he normally had. So I just kind of see he's going. I can see this Cody kind of screw you all. I had you all. You want Stardust? Stardust doesn't exist.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really get the look. Goldust looks great. Stardust, not so much.
So what happened next? Should we talk about the most relevant match of the night?
The most relevant night, yeah. The Divas match. Yeah.
Well, I made a new discovery, didn't I?
You did.
Where did these new frigging cameras come from?
I didn't notice them until you pointed it out to me. To be perfectly honest, I just did not notice this, and this is something that Weeds has discovered. So go on, tell the Weeds.
I'm sure they've been like this for a while, but this is the first time I've noticed them. When did those giant white things get on the end of the corner posts? Because I know they've got cameras in them, as this match told me when they went to what I'm now affectionately calling the crotch shot. Enough times that they have cameras on the ring posts. And then once I noticed them, I couldn't stop looking at the cameras on the ring post. Obviously not the crotch shots, because it just seems like that's really odd. They've got this kind of half a foot more on the end of each of the ring posts. And if this is the most interesting thing I took from the Divas match, I don't know what that tells you.
That's a terrible thing to say, Weeds, and it's probably gives the cause of give Divas a chance even more relevance. I haven't quite noticed them. I noticed them now. You've pointed them out. They're a bit long, aren't they?
What, the Divas or the cameras?
The cameras. Cameras.
Yeah, it was. Well, I started noticing them an awful lot after this. The match itself, the Divas, what did you make of it with Nikki and Paige?
It was all right.
I think what I've heard universally from podcasts this week is they worked hard.
Yeah,
which is code for meh.
Yeah, I like I said before, I like Nikki Bella. Me and Smack talked about it last week. We said that we're still expecting this big payoff from Brie at some point to, have a heel turn, or not a heel turn, go turn face again, because there's never really been any sort of closure with her, and the way that she was the personal assistant to Nikki, and this was a great chance to do that, really, by getting the belt off of Nikki Bella and getting on Paige, giving Paige an opportunity to re-establish herself, and then we could have this feud with the Bellas going into WrestleMania, and it kind of would work in terms of storyline. But
how has it come to this with Paige? How did we get here?
I don't know. She's kind of become like the rest of them, a total diva. So she's on the show now, and she's
just an afterthought again. And it's just appalling considering how well she came in that night after WrestleMania. It just beggars belief, really, that this has happened.
Yeah, so I'm not entirely sure what they're going to go for going into WrestleMania. Are they going to go for Nikki versus Paige again, or
Nikki versus all the divas as they've done before? I think they did a couple of years back, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't see the us getting any closure to a Nikki and a Brie Bella storyline, which I think is a bit of a disgrace, to be honest, because really pointless storyline for a good few months. The match was okay. They both worked hard, like you said, and like lots of people are saying. But not much more than that, really.
And don't get me wrong, I like Nikki Bella. I think she's really
good.
come on leaps and bounds in the last year or so. So I just, like the rest of everyone, I just want them to give the women's wrestling a bit more of a chance, but I just don't see it happening anytime soon. I don't really think there's a lot more to say about that, is there?
No, it's just divafied, and that's
divafied.
Yeah, divafied. So yeah, let's go on to Barrett versus Ambrose. Strange ending for this match. Yeah, good, both very good. The title's still questionable. I think Heyman kind of summed this up, that there's only one major title that anybody cares about in the WWE. I mean, he said
Vince in the background going, no, don't say that,
because the Intercontinental title going into this match, although they tried to play it off, that Ambrose got him to sign that contract, it didn't really raise the Intercontinental Championship as a credible belt. Still, it still doesn't feel like it's a good belt to have. And Barrett, as good as I like him as a champion, I don't think he's really getting that belt over. As I say, he doesn't mention the belt enough. This is the issue with lots of guys that pick up their belt. They don't talk about being the greatest Intercontinental champion. That's how the Rock and guys got this over. It's not there anymore. But Ambrose running off with the belt at the end of the match kind of leads you to believe that he's going to hold this belt for a couple of weeks and, hold it hostage. Obviously, we've been announced now that we're going to have a ladder match. So how that filters into it, I don't know. But it's a bit of a strange scenario going on with the Intercontinental Championship at the moment. Lots of things being thrown about. Again, the match, pretty good. Like watching these two in the ring. Big fan of both. But finish, I think you're going to talk about it. Being a lunatic wasn't very much of a lunatic finish.
No, he did this. I think he was just stomping in a corner. So you could have done anything to make him look more of a lunatic than than that finish did. Like you say, with the IC title, it feels like they've tried to go down the route where you had. You probably remember the feuds with Stone Cold and The Rock when they were the Intercontinental Champion, that they had all these crazy things on bridges and stuff and throwing the title in the river, and it kind of feels like they're trying to do stuff like that again. But like you say, they don't mention the title enough, and if the title's not if the title's not important, why are we here?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about that now. You mentioned that. A lot of times when you used to see, for example, The Rock, and you'd have Austin out on the floor and he'd be holding the belt in his face. When do you see that? When do you see that sort of, I'm proud to be the Intercontinental Champion. This is what it's all about. Him taking the belt, he's trying to do that sort of thing again. But because they haven't talked enough about the belt, all you really think is it's Ambrose versus Barrett. And, the belt has just become a prop.
Yeah. And I mean, that's not just the Intercontinental. That's everything in WWE at the moment. Until when Reigns presumably wins it back at WrestleMania, the belts have got to mean something again. And that's what I kind of like with the US title at the moment, is that, John Cena is saying, I actually want to win this belt. And that's why we're all here.
Yeah, I'll be honest, when we talk about Cena Rusev, that really has brought some relevancy back to a title which was lost a long time ago. And it just so happens that Dean Ambrose was probably the guy that made it lost, because he never defended it. So
no one knew he had it.
Yeah. Overall, again, I like the match in general, but again, fudgy finish. But it's opened up a whole new scenario going into WrestleMania. I'm sure we'll talk about this more in our WrestleMania review. This ladder match...
potentially a reset point?
Yeah, but also as well, there's a lot of matches that are being added to this card which are quite huge matches. Not a lot of storyline going to be put behind these matches, let's be honest. These are like, I reckon we'll probably get a tag team championship, multiple tag teams, have a ladder match, multiple superstars involved. I think we've got the Andre the Giant Battle Royal as well. So, I mean...
Yay! Daniel Bryan's going to win.
It's interesting.
I mean, the ladder match feels like it's replacing what was I always liked, which was the Money in the Bank match at WrestleMania. It will be a good spectacle to watch. If it's anything like the last one I remember, which was Ziggler and Harper, again, you've got other guys that you can add in. Depends how many guys they put in. I'd go for around 6, but you could have a really good potential ladder match here. Lots of good spots. So I see it as a kind of, they're going to use it as a bit of a reset point for the Intercontinental title and really line up these, because like we've said before, there's some really good mid to upper card wrestlers in there that should be involved in this title. And the main thing, I think, coming out of this WrestleMania is that you want all the titles to be relevant again. There's no point in having them.
Yeah, whoever's next up to pick up that belt needs to make sure that they are 100% focused on the belt. The belt's defended every week on Raw going forward, and that's how they get it going forward. I personally don't think Dean Ambrose is the guy to do that, so we'll wait and see.
No, Dean, for me, I think I've had slight disagreements with some of our listeners, but for me, Dean Ambrose, they really need to nail down what he does, and because I like Dean Ambrose, I like the gimmick, but they need to stick with one type of lunatic with him, rather than he can't be a clown one week and then a homicidal maniac the next.
Indeed. So let's go on. Let's talk about, we're coming to the bigger end now of things, and we had the Sting versus Triple H promo. Probably for me, one of my favourite moments of the night. Loved the way WWE did this. The only thing I'd question is possibly Sting's entrance could have been a little bit more exciting, because you've had over the years Sting come down from the rafters, you've had him standing in the rafters. We saw on Raw the lights go out, then the fake Sting being in the ring. I was expecting maybe something like that could have added a little bit more drama to this, but Triple H's promo was seriously on point. I really liked the way that he was hinting, we could give you some merchandise, we can put you in the Hall of Fame.
So patronising.
it was just the way that was done, and Sting didn't have to say a single word. It was written all over his face just by being that stone cold expression that Sting was there and he meant business. It's unclear why Sting is there. They have not indicated his reason. I guess it's just to topple the authority. But I love the bit with the sledgehammer versus the baseball bat. That's great. And I just love that Sting... I don't think Sting needs to talk. There's a few people that are saying Sting needs to talk. No, he doesn't. The whole thing with the baseball bat against the chin, pointing to WrestleMania, says it all.
No, the bat imagery was powerful, and obviously we weren't sure we were going to get it because of this slightly PG reality era that we got. And I think, obviously, fair play to WWE, they held it as one of their aces, because that great and that kind of cutaway to Triple H, because there was a big enough pop for him getting the sledgehammer, let alone the baseball bat coming out. So that worked really well for me. I actually liked the holding it up under his chin and letting it do the talking. It was the old Untouchables. You bring a bat, I'll bring a baseball. You bring a sledgehammer, I'll bring a baseball bat kind of thing, which was really good. The entrance, like you say, it would have been better if they did something a bit out of the ordinary. I liked it if the lights would have gone out and then he appeared, I think, which is what you were kind of indicating. I assume they didn't do that because of the Bray Wyatt promo slightly later. But I suppose we'll probably end up talking about both of the promos now. But I mean, in general, this did everything that it needed to do. The only thing I don't like is why do they keep referring him to as WCW Sting? I don't like that. We've had this war. This war was 14 years ago.
Yeah, but he's relevant to WCW. He was the only guy that never
But that's
moved.
not why he's here, is it? I mean, he's here to topple the authority. He's not here to work a WCW angle. He's here because, I assume, like the Crow character, he saw a wrong that needed to be righted, and he's done that to some degree. And because the sense you get from me is, I've seen this, and not just that I've seen it, but we know WWE wins. It's if it's a WWE, I'm adding a W. If it's a WWE thing against WCW, you wouldn't expect Triple H to lose, because ultimately he's going to be the face, surely. If it's a WWE thing against a WCW thing,
I think
this is a vanquished rival. This is someone who's lost. This is done. There's no relevance for me to make it WCW.
I think what they're trying to do with the WCW bit is they want people to watch the network. So you've got a lot of WCW content. a lot of the old school fans. This should bring them back into the mix, knowing that Sting's there. And obviously, you know, people like me, I liked WCW. So it kind of gets me sort of invested in, because I know the history. A lot of people don't know the history, and that's what it is about. And I know history is questionable when it comes to WWE, because obviously Sting spent a long time in TNA, and they don't choose to mention TNA at all. But yeah, I kind of understand. I can see why they go down that route a little bit in terms of getting people to go on the network and actually go and look at Sting. Because if you did and you didn't know about Sting, I actually do think that you probably then start watching all the Nitros to try and, you know, understand that whole Crow gimmick which came about. So that's what my viewpoint is of this whole WCW versus WWE thing. With him being the sole survivor, yeah, there's a lot more to WCW than that. But I think it's the way that they bring him in, and I kind of agree with you. Yes, it shouldn't be. It should be about him righting a wrong. But I do think that it does add a little bit more to history, that he's never been in the WWE, and he was the only one really that wasn't open to ever going there from WCW.
I suppose that is a great point, getting them to look towards the network. I suppose for me, I'm just thinking, because I'm expecting Sting to win at WrestleMania.
He has to win. He has to.
And I just don't know where that kind of, if you are looking at it from a WWE, WCW standpoint, it just makes me wonder, because you want Triple H to be the heel, surely, in this, and by penciling him alongside WWE as, I think he called himself the Constant or something along those lines. I built this house, which is firmly implying for me that, if you're watching WWE, you're a WWE fan, and by nature you would then become a Triple H fan in terms of this match. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm overcomplicating it, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. As soon as I heard them going down the WWE, WCW route, I was kind of, you don't need to do this. And if it is a watch the network thing, I mean, if you guys don't know about the wars and things like that, watch the Monday Night Wars program. I think they've got about 10, 11 episodes on there, and it covers all of this stuff a lot better than I suppose we would necessarily. But for me, it's big enough that as a wrestling fan, we've got Sting, and that should be enough.
I think you're right. Yeah, I do agree. I do agree on that. It should be enough that Sting's there, but you can just see from the fans' point of view. I mean,
a lot of people aren't going to even know what WCW is.
Again, they just, that crowd in Memphis just didn't appreciate what they were getting, because,
and they were a bloody WCW crowd.
Yeah, he even hinted. Triple H said, "We'll even put you in the Hall of Fame," and that should have been a huge pop there. That should have been solidified that yes, Sting needs to be. He doesn't have to have been in WWE for a huge period of time. Sting is a very worthy Hall of Famer for what he's contributed to the wrestling industry, and he'd be the first ever to be in the TNA Hall of Fame and the WWE Hall of Fame. But that to me should have been when the crowd went bananas, and unfortunately they didn't. So, all that happens when crowds don't get up for things like this is it devalues things, and it makes WWE question: do we need to put him in the Hall of Fame? Didn't get much of a pop, So. That segment needed some more oomph from the crowd, and I think it would have got it in a crowd that maybe knew their history a little bit more.
No, definitely. And I think overall, if you're looking in terms of promo, it was great. Both did brilliant. An absolute main event kind of job in terms of building towards WrestleMania. It's kind of, and it was good. They gave just enough of a physical confrontation that you wanted to go back for more. Because I'll be completely honest, when I first heard that it wasn't going to be Taker Sting, I was kind of quite skeptical. And he's coming in against Triple H, and now I am looking forward to actually seeing how this angle plays out. And I mean, if anything, out of the whole thing, the video package they put together for it has been absolutely, it's been the best thing I've seen in years on WWE, with the kind of the merging of Sting's face into Triple H and those kind of things. And I'm expecting more things from it. And I'll be honest, I do want Sting to talk. I really did like the Crow gimmick where he didn't speak for about a year in WCW. I don't want him to talk every week. I just want like the one before WrestleMania to go kind of, we're on, and you have no idea what you've got yourself into, Triple H.
Yeah, I would like to see something like that. I think he needs to break his silence just before, not any closer, but just before
the week before. Yeah,
yeah,
literally.
just that kind of underlines the storyline then exactly why he's here. So that would be a nice touch as well. All I've got to say to sum up that promo is that it's probably the thing I'm looking most forward to going into WrestleMania at the moment.
Well, there's lots to look forward to. I'm sure we'll come on to it. But we're going to see loads of stuff that we have never seen before at this WrestleMania. So there are quite a few negative people that I think out there. I think mainly because Brian's not in the main event at the moment. Whether or not they do something with him, we don't know. But we're going to see loads of matches we have never, ever seen before at this WrestleMania. And I suppose that's what I'm going to keep coming back to for WrestleMania 31. What did you think of the Wyatt promo?
Oh, it was very good. It was really surprising. Yeah, I think he got everybody, to be honest. It was really good the way that they did it. You just thought it was the Undertaker making the return. I will still always say that I don't quite understand it. I'm always going to say it. I don't understand why the Undertaker would want to face Bray Wyatt. I feel that he should always have come back to Fort Brock Lesnar. But I will settle that difference because I think this is going to be a great moment for Bray. He doesn't have to win this match.
I don't think he will.
He does not have to win this match. This match for the Undertaker should be maybe a redeeming match for the Undertaker, but Bray Wyatt should push him to the limit. And then ultimately for Taker, I think he goes on to 32 to have that final match. And I'm hoping, because it's in Texas, and I hope it's against Sting, and I hope that is the final match that they have. And then in addition to that, Bray Wyatt is elevated to the next level because it's a huge deal facing the Undertaker, streak or no streak. You're being given the opportunity to go up against the dead man at WrestleMania. And I love the way that Bray has just been calling him out. And he's saying that he's the one that everyone should fear moving forward. I do really like what he's done. And it's going to be so interesting when the Undertaker makes his return. Because there's rumours at the moment that he ain't coming back until bang on WrestleMania.
It'd be good. And I like the thing where Bray Wyatt was saying the fear factor's gone. You're done. Yeah, you were broken down by the beast last year, effectively, and I think that's the main thing. And if he's not there before the Raw, before WrestleMania, it doesn't necessarily hurt for me because this is all about, like you say, Bray Wyatt, building him up for that next level. So we can really get a good account of whether Bray Wyatt, because he's working a main event match here, whether he can carry that by himself. And I mean, you've only got to look at the people that were, got that bump from Taker more recently, like your Edges and your Randy Ortons, to see what it did for their careers.
I'd have Bray at WrestleMania just come out. I would never have Taker come in prior. I just have Bray come out and say, he didn't want to accept my challenge. And, I would not give any indication. I just have Bray week on, week out, hammering the Undertaker, different bizarre scenarios that he can do. And
just answer him with the bells or something like that.
And then on the night, just have him, I think we all know he's going to come back, but have him come back and whether it'll be interesting to see what look he's going to go for, because people are saying that possibly you're going to get to see, Big Evil come back. You might get that style Undertaker. So it's going to be interesting to see what we're actually going to get. And I think the mystery of what the Undertaker is going to come back and look like to face Bray Wyatt is something even more intriguing. So I don't really see the reason for him to come back until bang on WrestleMania.
And more importantly, we're going to get something we've never seen before.
Yeah, it's just exciting. I think it's good for Bray Wyatt. I mean, he's been lost out in the wasteland for a long time, and this is his chance. This time is now, and he's not going to get someone like Cena bury him. This, regardless, win, lose, draw, it's only good for Bray Wyatt.
And just saying, Reigns does go over Lesnar, he's going to need credible opponents, and Bray Wyatt is going to be one of those.
Yeah, real good one.
Yeah. So, no, I like the promo. Was wondering again if it felt a bit roary, like they were trying to get stuff in, but I didn't have any problem with it. He got me. So I liked it.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Next up, Cena Rusev. So, we talked about Intercontinental Championship not having much credibility. Well, we did touch on it, but I think that this one now does. The United States Championship is fully involved in this, and Rusev's very proud to be, although he doesn't like the United States fans, he's very proud to be a champion, and that's something that I really like. And I like that Cena wants to bring the belt home. It's all about struggle with bringing the title back for the people. And
Are you saying nice things about John Cena?
Yeah, because you've actually got the crowd cheering for John Cena for a legitimate reason now, not just because he's got 5 moves and he likes to knuckle shuffle himself,
It showed that this crowd was not dead, didn't it? Because he got a massive, massive cheer when he came out.
I think it's good. I think it's really, really good, this storyline. And I was always questioning how Rusev would be treated going up against John Cena, but I think this is spot on. This is watching.
They went blow for blow.
Yeah, and watching the segment on Raw after as well has only made Rusev become even better. I liked that Lana controls the conversations, and it's a questionable finish again, but I like the way that Lana controls the build. She's a very key character in all of this. And then Rusev, when he talks, it's just business. Rusev doesn't care. He's the champ, and that's all he cares about. And he beat John Cena. And questionable about the whole he submitted.
Hasn't he hasn't addressed it yet, and this is what's good. Even as an outside fan, it's like it was given as a submission. We know he didn't submit; he passed out.
Never gives up,
and because he never gives up, and that's the very thing they're challenging. It's actually being challenged properly this time. Like they've kind of missed out before, and that's the great thing is that Cena's been in the background again, and has been pretty much since January sort of time last year. He's been involved with the title picture, but I don't think anyone really thought he was going to take that back off Lesnar. He did the job of putting over Lesnar as powerfully as he possibly could. So he's become a real good. I mean, he's always been a company man, but the stuff he's done in the last 18 months has been phenomenal from John Cena. And he's giving Rusev. I mean, Rusev is going to be another potential World Heavyweight Championship contender for Reigns if Reigns goes over, and that's what they're making these guys, and they're making them all at the same sort of time. So for me, they're doing a great job. Like you said, US title's relevant. You actually believe that Cena wants to bring it home because he's made it so personal about the American angle, and it's actually an American angle done brilliantly. I mean, the Swagger one was quite good. I liked it when they did the real Americans thing, and everyone's behind Cena. It's not your 50-50 chance at the moment. He is, it's 85 to 90% of the fans are behind Cena. Mm-hmm. And it was an old school wrestling angle at the end of it. It was a distraction done properly, a kick in the nuts, and then he put him back in the acolyte, and it was good. It had to be shown that someone like Cena, who has gone through an absolute pasting from Lesnar earlier on in the year, last year, and then he broke out of the hold, and then he got put back in it and did pass out. So it's been built up really well, and the fact that Rusev on Raw said you're not getting a rematch, you were like, you bastard. And
that's
you are rooting for Cena to get this, and I liked it. I really, really liked it, and I thought the match was great as well. Hard hitting, bloody hell! It was hard hitting.
Yeah, I like the fact I kind of called that finish, not to the degree, but obviously we've been talking a few weeks about low blows and things like that, not heelish tactics, but Rusev's getting all the good things that a heel should. So he's getting heel heat for the right reasons. So yeah, I think, and when it comes to WrestleMania, I definitely think for the purpose of the belt that John Cena should take the belt off of Rusev, but only because then Rusev can then move on to bigger and better things, and Cena then gives that relevancy to the United States Championship.
Yeah, I mean, and that's your repair job done.
Exactly. So, main event time.
Just to quickly cover that, you liked a John Cena match.
Yeah. There you go.
And that'd be the second pay-per-view in a row that you liked a John Cena match.
Yeah, kind of. I guess.
Now that we've got that on record, we can move on.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Wait for him to spoil it at WrestleMania on the grandest stage of them all.
Well, he has to win at WrestleMania.
Right, come on. That's enough Cena praise for 1 week. Let's talk Brian Reigns. So, I have to admit, I have liked Roman Reigns since him winning the Royal Rumble. I've felt that Roman Reigns has got better. Raw, just to quickly touch on, Raw, the promo was good. I think that was a Roman Reigns promo, not a WWE scripted promo. But the match, although Daniel Bryan obviously carried the match, I think he set the match pace, and Bryan is phenomenal at doing that. Every time Daniel Bryan's involved in a match, he's absolutely awesome. And I feel that Reigns definitely stepped up to the challenge, and I think he took it to him. He did. He did. So I think the crowd as well are warming more and more to Roman Reigns.
What did you make at the end with the handshake and he basically saying, "You go get him"?
Yeah, I liked it. I don't see there's an issue there. I think the promo on Raw followed that up nicely as well. So
they had made Daniel Bryan a little bit douchey both of them in the build up to this, where he looked a bit petty at times. So the fact that they've actually come out of it, and they actually did the good thing with the Rollins Orton tag team match with Bryan and Reigns, where they did the blind tag for Rollins and Orton, and then they did it the same thing for Reigns, and Reigns just kind of laughed it off.
Yeah, I liked that. I thought it was really good.
So it was little things like this, and it's those little things that I like. The match itself between Bryan and Reigns, I thought was a really well told story. It was the classic kind of power versus the wrestler. You felt like Daniel Bryan had got it a couple of times. I think everyone was expecting a spear on the second attempt at the knee, weren't they?
Yeah, but I thought the spear was good. I liked the spear was pretty powerful. It worked. It just I actually feel that the whole thing worked. It's done a good job to get Roman Reigns back into a position where he's going into this. Yeah, and I think at one day as well, Reigns is going to make a good heel. His promos are, to me, kind of more heel based, to be honest. He's very that softly spoken sort of thing. He worked it well in the Shield as well. But going forward, he's definitely got the momentum back, which he kind of lost. And win, lose, boo, whatever. If crowd want to boo him still, fine. But I think you've got to respect that he's worked hard to get himself back in his, and he looks pretty battered at the moment. I'm not going to lie. He has definitely put himself through the paces to try and get himself over, because he's been knocked some lumps out of him last few weeks.
I mean, it was the end of the story, really, the last month. And I thought again, the promo on Raw was great. He goes, "I've been put through hell," and not just by WWE. By the fans as well, because we were all clamoring for him a year ago, and as we said on the Royal Rumble one, we're not saying there was a problem with him winning. You just couldn't do it in the fashion that they'd done, and I think they've done a really credible job of making him credible in the last month.
I think he has got that look and style of the Cena workhorse as well. He's working week in, week out. He has got that Cena style about him. He's every week he's there, every week he's participating. There's no stopping Roman Reigns moving forward, and that's something that I quite like. And if they did want to pass the torch from a Cena to Reigns, it's working. It's working.
I was going to say, if that happens, then how do you see them doing it at Mania? Is this just going to be clean? Is this going to be an injury angle with Lesnar, obviously, because they did the massive selling of the rib at the Royal Rumble, even though he came back and nearly left Seth Rollins' heart-shaped hole in the ring. I mean, how do they do this? Does he go over clean? Does he get the respect from Lesnar?
No, I don't think he does get the respect from Lesnar, because they promoed this week. It's not about respect now, so that's out the window. So I don't think it is, and I don't think that's... So
it's going to become quite personal.
Yeah, I think it is. I think as long as Lesnar's around to do it, then I think it is going to be week in, week out, quite a back and forth between the two. The only two scenarios is, I think that Reigns has got to pin the Beast. He just has to. Whether I agree with that, because I still think Lesnar should win at WrestleMania.
I personally don't want anything involved with Heyman turning.
So you don't want a heel turn? Because I think that could be another good scenario that could happen.
The only way if they do that is I want a Seth face turn on the same evening.
Yeah, because I think that possibly that could be an option for him as well. And I wouldn't. It wouldn't bother me if they did that, because if Lesnar is leaving after WrestleMania, what do you do with Paul Heyman? You have to pair him with somebody. And the way that
that'd be great if you got Lesnar on the Raw going, "See, I told you not to trust this guy."
Well, the way that Heyman has been promoing the respect thing from Heyman is kind of kissing Roman Reigns' ass a little bit. Although he's telling him he's not going to win, he is telling him that he likes him. Yeah,
he's saying if it was another, I'd like that. You're in the right time, in the right place. I can't remember what it was, but he said there was one that was just the wrong place or something like that. And it was a great Heyman promo again, which I'm sure he came up with on the cuff after Mr. Lesnar walked out.
I think it was right face at the right place, but at the wrong time. Yeah.
See, places, I get confused.
That's from a Michael Jackson song, isn't it? Black or White. Macaulay Culkin.
Now I've got Macaulay Culkin in my head.
But yeah, I think it's done a lot of good damage control. Brian, interesting where he's going to go. I think you're thinking Andre the Giant Battle Memorial, and I'm thinking possibly Intercontinental Championship. I don't know if that's a step down, but again, someone like Brian picking up the IC belt, credibility, bringing back to the belt.
You've got to do something with him properly, because
does the Battle Royal
is the
give
best
him?
Wrestler on the roster at the minute.
But if he goes in the Battle Royal, what does he give him? It didn't give Cesaro nothing. So
he got a great big trophy that got obviously smashed up, because that is the rules as per any Battle Royal pay-per-view.
I think that the Battle Royal should have a stipulation that you have a title shot in the year. Or something. It's got to have some meaning to it, because otherwise, just winning a trophy that's going to get smashed up is not worth it.
No, I mean, and that's it. It just seems. I think we said this last year. It just seems the way to get everyone on the card.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed, if that's the case, you might as well bring back the hardcore title.
So, I mean, overall, what was your thoughts of Fastlane? Good, bad, ugly?
I had a little bit of everything, and so I can't complain about that. If the crowd would have been into it, I think it would have been a really, really, really positive pay-per-view. But I think it was good. Still, for me, I'd give it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd probably say
maybe I'm in a little bit higher.
I'd probably go 7.5.
There you go. Set on 7.5. I thought it was good. I thought the crowd let it down.
Yes, certainly. Shame on you.
But I'll tell you what, I am excited about Mania, and that is mainly because we are going to see things that we haven't seen in the WWE ring before, and by that I mean in terms of the matchups, and hopefully we can get these titles all meaning something again.
Yeah, the thing I would say, just to kind of close off We Talk this week, is that let's be honest, there's so many matches that could be booked this year, because there's even things like Miz versus Mizdow, there's Cody versus Goldust, then they're teasing like the primetime players coming back with the Ascension, you
might even get a Divas match.
There's just so many things. I could have booked about 15 matches for this card, and they keep dropping in these big things like the ladder match and the Battle Royal. So crikey, I mean, I don't know what the final card's going to be, but there's so many options there, it's untrue.
Well, they've got another hour to fill, so they've got 4 hours to fill.
Yeah, so it's really, really good going into WrestleMania, and that's something that you don't say very often over the years with WWE recently, so fair play. Yes. So, kind of brings us to the end of a very intense and very interesting We Talk. There was a lot to talk about. All I'd say as well is, guys, if you want to get involved in We Talk, then WrestleMania is the time to do it. And I've been tweeting this out in the last few days, and I'll keep tweeting it out. If you want to get involved and you want to be on the We Talk WrestleMania special, where we should have guys like Smack Talks, hopefully L's going to come on, and a few others. But if you guys want to put your predictions forward for Reigns versus Lesnar, then I and Weeds want to hear from you. So the way we want to do this is, I want you to record a 30-second clip, an audio clip, and I want you guys to send those audio clips to me. So all you got to do is follow me on Twitter at Delzinski. That's all you have to do. And then once you do that, if you can tell me that you've got your audio clip ready, I'll give you a follow back. And then you can just send me that audio clip. I'll give you the information on how to do that. And all I want to hear is if you're a YouTuber, then I want your YouTube name. If you're not a YouTuber, I just want your normal name. And then I want your prediction, Lesnar or Reigns. And then I want the reason why, so how you'd book it. So I just want to hear from you, Lesnar wins with an F5, Reigns wins with a spear, Reigns wins with Heyman getting involved. I want to hear that. So that 30-second clip is what it should consist of. Guys, get involved and you will be on We Talk come WrestleMania. Simple as that.
It sounds good. I was going to say, because we got quite a few things planned for the WrestleMania special. So yeah, just stay tuned. And I was going to say, do we have any shout outs today?
We don't.
Well, I want to shout out then the free Anthony from Mike Tenay campaign has succeeded. I am back.
I cannot believe you escaped. But yeah, it's been a real intense week with wrestling, and guys, WrestleMania, when it comes around, we want everybody involved, and so more interaction the better. So definitely get your audio clips together. It's gonna be good.
So until next time, We Talkers, from this We Talk weekend, a lot of We Talk there. Have a great week, and I will see you next time.
Yep, we will do so. Just one last thing. If you want to follow us on Twitter, then obviously it's me at Delzinski, and that's the same for Instagram. And Weeds is Weeds_world. You can see it on the screen anyway. So give us a follow and stay tuned for next week's We Talk. This is Delzinski and Weeds signing